What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. Before we get into today's show, if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and do so. Help us reach 7,000 subs. Trying to get there by the end of the month. I know it's going to be close, but hit that big red button and subscribe if you're looking for consistent, free Broncos news, rumors, draft, free agency, and best of all in today's video, trade coverage, because we're talking about Russell Wilson. Go ahead and subscribe. Matthew Peterson from Chat Sports here on the Broncos Breakdown, talking about the Russell Wilson trade, because free agency's had a bit of a lull, and so I came into the office today thinking, what do we want to do on the show? Well, let's talk about the Russell Wilson trade, because let's revisit it and kind of get ourselves pumped again for the 2022 season. So I'm going to outline 5 reasons why the Broncos won the trade. But first, to set the table, let's look at the trade, okay? The Seahawks getting 2 firsts and 2 seconds, one of those being the 9th overall pick. Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, and Noah Fant are the 3 players going to the Pacific Northwest, and a 2023 5th-round pick in exchange for Russell Wilson and a 4th rounder. So have you guys weigh in early on the show. Who won the trade? Broncos or Seahawks? Let me know in the comments which team won this trade. I think it's hands down, without a doubt, the Broncos. But if you're a Seahawks fan and somehow you came across this and I don't know why you think the Seahawks won it, I guess you can have a voice too. This is a democracy. So let me know in the comments below. Right now I'm going to give you 5 reasons, though, why Denver won the Russell Wilson trade. And I think it's an ass-kicking, too. So let's dive into reason number 1. Russell Wilson is better than the draft picks given up. I understand 2 firsts and 2 seconds is a good haul for a player. But make no mistake, Russell Wilson is going to be better than those picks, and I haven't even seen them yet. But hopefully with Russell Wilson, those draft picks are at the end of the first round. I understand some skepticism of, hey, look what Peyton did in the draft last year, right? Got Surtain, great player. Jerry Jeudy the year before that. Those were both picks 10 and 9. With Russell Wilson, you're not drafting in the top half of the first round. You're drafting towards the end. And towards the end, the talent thins out a little bit, and you get much bigger misses. So I get that it can be a little hesitant to be like, we gave up all those picks for one player. Yeah, because you know what? He's going to be better than all those picks and all those players combined. But if you disagree with me, that's okay. I got thick skin. I can take it. Who do you think is more valuable? Russell Wilson or the draft picks? I'm putting 3 for Russ. But if you want to go the opposite way, you can go D for draft picks, and we'll keep it nice and light and friendly, and we'll keep it under control in the comment section. Let me know which one you think is more valuable. Next reason why the Broncos won this deal: expendable assets. Denver had a very good roster before the trade. The only thing they were missing was a quarterback. Okay, and so what do? They move on from players they can afford to move on from, like Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant. I'm going to miss the production Harris had. I mean, he's a very good defensive tackle, but he is getting up there in the H column. Noah Fant, we always wanted to see more from him. And Drew Lock, who gives a shit at this point? You got Russell Wilson. But as for Noah Fant, we're talking about a first-round pick in 2019 that I wouldn't say was it's not a bust. I don't even like saying that word out loud. But maybe we always were wanting more from Noah Fant, right? Never really saw Noah Fant as a top 5 tight end in the NFL. You always felt like he was getting closer and closer to that point. And that's fine, because you're not supposed to be your first or second year out of college. But I just don't know if we really felt like Noah Fant was about to emerge onto the scene as the next Gronk, Jimmy Graham, one of those top-end tight ends. So at the end of the day, I look at it this way. The Broncos gave up an aging defensive tackle. You can live without a defensive tackle. You can find some off the street. An above-average tight end. And you got Big Al O, who's going to be a nice replacement for him. And you go to the draft, you find one in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. You look at free agency. You make do. I mean, you got to spend a little money to make a little money, so I'm not all that concerned whatsoever about losing Fant. But what do you think is the bigger loss? I don't think it's Drew Lock, so I wouldn't even put him on the screen. Noah Fant or Shelby Harris. And I don't say it to be mean at Lock, but come on. It's Russell Wilson for Drew Lock. This is a no-brainer. Let me know in the comments which player is a bigger loss in your eyes. Third reason why the Broncos won this trade. It's a poor QB draft class. If Denver was going to go draft a quarterback, they weren't going to get one even close to Russell Wilson, right? And that's not easy to do even with a loaded QB class. I mean, I don't know if you can go to last year's class and be like, these guys are all going to be just as good as Russell Wilson. But check out the crop this year. I've talked about this for weeks now. I don't like it. Pick it. Small hands. I mean, now I'm just bashing on this guy, so I feel like a bit of a jerk. But at the end of the day, none of these players would have been picked in the first round of the draft last year. We're just forcing someone to be the top three one of the top three QBs taken, and then rectifying it as, oh, if you're the first QB taken, you must be good. There can be bad QB classes. Look at the E.J. Manuel. What was it, 2013? Yeah, 2013 draft class. Geno Smith too, I think. Not good. They exist. And the Broncos could not waste another year of great contracts on QB play limiting them. You don't extend Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick and have Jerry Jeudy on his rookie contract along with KJ Hamler for them not to have a consistent, competent quarterback. That's just a waste of talent, right? You don't pay all these guys all this money and you've got all these great players around them, but it's all going to waste because you don't have the quarterback. Like, that's what makes me upset when you look back at the 2021 season. You know what makes me very excited for the 2022 season? Look at these Russell Wilson jerseys. So if you want to get one, you want to go to Mile High in style with a brand new Russell Wilson jersey. We got them in all the colors you want at chatsports.com/Broncos jersey. The link's in the comments and the description of the show. So you know what? That way you can show up to the first tailgate, to the first, I would call it preseason party because preseason's always a bit of a, it's like you get blue balled a little bit. But week one, and you got a nice Russell Wilson jersey. On to my fourth reason why the Broncos won this trade. Seattle, let's look at them for a moment because they're half the trade. They suck at drafting. They got all these draft picks, but they are historically not very good at drafting, especially as of late. In fact, I graded their last 5 first-round draft picks. Look at them. It's not pretty. I'll wait on Dwayne Eskridge, Eskridge, because it's only been a year, so I think it's unfair. But Jordan Brooks, he's been good. He's a good linebacker. Give it a B+. Then there's an edge rusher out of TCU, LJ Collier. He's a D. I think he's got 3 sacks in his career. Rashad Penny, if he didn't have a good end of the season last year, he'd be an F. And Malik McDowell never played a snap for them. So that has to be an F or an F-. And I understand every GM has draft misses, and Peyton's only had one, but he'll have his too, because the NFL draft's a crapshoot. So I'm not just picking on John Schneider, but you got to get the first round right more than once, maybe twice so far in the last 5 seasons. So for Seattle to get all these picks, which, by the way, hopefully are late in the draft, I'm not all that concerned. They're not going to do much with them if history tends to repeat itself. And my fifth and final reason why the Broncos won this trade, it's Russell freaking Wilson. What more do we have to say about a guy who won a Super Bowl in his second season? We won't say who it was against. A guy that was just snake-bitten because Pete Carroll called a pass instead of a run, and the Seahawks have been in, just the circle of hell since then. But look at since Russell Wilson has emerged on the scene. Since 2012, he is 3rd in the NFL in touchdown passes, only behind Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, ahead of Drew Brees and ahead of Matt Ryan. He's 3rd. This is a guaranteed bona fide player who I think has 8 to 12, he's talking closer to 12, years left in him. The Broncos massacred the Seahawks in this trade, okay? I'm talking like Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise, Scorched Earth motherfucker. Like that bad for Seattle. They get just 2 firsts for Russell Wilson, and they're going to probably flop on one of those 2. And I bet all those 3 players they got, Drew Lock, who's entering the final year of his contract, along with Noah Fant, and then you got Shelby Harris aging. I bet of those 3 guys, 0 of them are on their roster after 2 seasons. I just don't see them extending them. I just felt like they were like, well, we got to get something for us, so who can we get? And they're like, well, we were not really excited about this, but we'll be absolutely laughed out of town if we don't get more than just a couple picks for Russell Wilson. If you're pumped to see Russ play in Denver in week 1, go ahead and like the video if you haven't already. I cannot wait. I hope week 1 is against either the Chiefs or the Seahawks, because those would be very big revenge games. And you could, see the Chiefs end that 13 game, whatever it is. I hate that I had to say the number. Losing drought against the Chefs. So if you can't wait to see Russell play, like today's video.